This is the Chiropractic Marketing Podcast, an on-demand talk radio show that covers internet marketing best practices for chiropractors. I'm your host, Dr. Patrick McNamara. Welcome, everyone, to episode number 73 of the Chiropractic Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Patrick McNamara, and today we're getting into something that I know has caused more than a few of you some serious frustration. Waking up to find that your Google business profile ranking has dropped. We're going to talk about why that happens, what's actually driving it, and most importantly, exactly what you can do to recover your visibility and get back in front of the patients who are looking for you right now. All right, so let me set the scene for you. Things are going great. You're showing up in the Google Maps results. New patient calls are coming in, and your practice is humming along. Then one day, almost out of nowhere, the phone goes quiet. You log into your Google business profile and realize you've slipped out of those top spots. If that sounds familiar, I want you to know you are absolutely not alone. A sudden ranking drop is one of the most common and most stressful things chiropractors deal with in local search. And the good news is that it almost always has a fixable cause. So before we get into the reasons this happens, let me give you a quick foundation on how Google business profile rankings actually work, because understanding this makes everything else click into place. Google uses three core factors to determine where your practice shows up in local search and on Google Maps. Those three factors are relevance, distance, and prominence. Relevance is how well your profile matches what a potential patient is actually searching for. Distance is how close your practice is to wherever the person searching is located. And prominence is essentially how well-known and trusted Google considers your business to be, based on your reviews, your citations across the web, your links, and your overall online presence. When your ranking drops, it means one or more of those three pillars has taken a hit, either because of something you did, something you didn't do, or something a competitor did better than you. Let's go through the most common culprits one by one. The first one is inactivity. This is probably the most overlooked reason, and it catches a lot of chiropractors off guard. Google rewards businesses that are actively engaged with their profiles. If you haven't posted any updates, added photos, or responded to reviews in weeks or even months, Google starts to interpret that as a signal that maybe you're less engaged, or in some cases, that your business isn't fully operational. Regular activity tells Google you're open, you're present, and you're worth showing to people who are searching. The fix here is straightforward. Commit to posting on your Google business profile at least once a week. It doesn't have to be fancy. Patient education content, service updates, a community event you're involved in. Consistency is the key. I actually did a full episode on Google business profile posts and how they protect and improve your local rankings, so check the show notes for a link to that one. The second reason is your review situation. Your review profile is one of the most powerful ranking signals you have on Google Maps, and it can work for you or against you in a big way. A sudden wave of negative reviews, or even just a long stretch without any new positive reviews coming in, can drag your prominence score down. And here's something a lot of people don't realize. Google doesn't just look at your overall star rating. It pays attention to the velocity of your reviews, meaning how recently you've been getting them, and the overall sentiment. Chiropractors who have a consistent, active review strategy consistently outperform those who let it go cold. If your review pipeline has stalled out, that could very well explain your drop. I've linked to a deep dive on review management strategy in the show notes, so make sure you grab that. Third up, and this one surprises people when they find out how much damage it can do, is inconsistent NAP information. NAP or NAP stands for name, address, and phone number. If that information doesn't match perfectly across your website, your Google business profile, and every third-party directory where your practice is listed, places like Yelp, Healthgrades, ZocDoc, Google loses confidence in your business data. And when Google loses confidence, your rankings suffer for it. We're talking about small discrepancies too. Something as minor as writing Suite 100 fully out on your website, but Suite 100 abbreviated on a directory listing can create confusion for Google's algorithm. A full citation audit and cleanup is often one of the fastest ways to recover from this kind of ranking drop. I covered citation management for chiropractors in a full episode. Link is in the show notes. The fourth reason is one that's easy to forget because it's not about anything you did wrong. It's about what a competitor did right. Sometimes your ranking drops because another chiropractor in your market decided to get serious about their local SEO. Maybe they launched a review acquisition campaign, started posting weekly, added fresh photos, or brought in a professional team. Google Maps is a zero-sum game when it comes to the local three-pack. There are only 3 spots, and when someone else earns one, somebody else loses one. That's just the reality. Doing a competitive analysis on the practices that are currently outranking you is a critical step in figuring out what you need to do to take your spot back. I've linked to a resource on competitive analysis in the show notes that walks you through exactly how to approach that. Fifth is something a lot of chiropractors don't realize. Your Google Business Profile ranking doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's heavily influenced by what's happening on your actual website. If your website has lost backlinks, experienced a technical issue, seen a drop in organic traffic, or just hasn't been updated with locally relevant content in a while, your Google Business Profile rankings will often follow that downward trend. Make sure your website is technically sound, loads quickly on mobile, and has location-specific content that reinforces your service area. If your chiropractic website isn't built with local SEO in mind from the ground up, it may honestly be time to look at a redesign. I'll link to a resource for that in the show notes as well. Number 6 is one you definitely want to check if your drop was sudden and dramatic, a Google-initiated suspension or penalty. In some cases, what looks like a ranking drop is actually a suspension. That can be either a soft suspension, where your profile still technically exists but is severely limited in visibility, or a hard suspension, where your profile has been fully removed. Common triggers for this include keyword stuffing in your business name. So, for example, putting chiropractor back pain relief sciatica in your name field when your actual business name is just your practice name. It can also be triggered by a reported policy violation or a competitor flagging your listing. If you log into your Google Business Profile dashboard and see any kind of warning notice, or your profile just isn't appearing at all, you may need to go through Google's reinstatement process, which typically involves submitting documentation, proving your business is legitimate and operating at the address listed. The 7th cause is category or service misalignment. This one is underestimated. Your primary category in Google Business Profile is one of the most important fields in your entire profile. It tells Google what kind of business you are and what searches you should appear for. If you recently changed your primary or secondary categories, or if Google's algorithm quietly recategorized your listing, it can significantly affect your visibility. For chiropractors, your primary category should almost always be chiropractor. From there, you can add secondary categories if they accurately reflect your services, but that primary category has to be right. 8th, if you've recently moved your practice or changed your service area settings in your Google Business Profile, that change can cause your rankings to fluctuate, sometimes dramatically. Google often requires re-verification when address changes are made, and until that verification is complete, you can lose a lot of ground. If you've relocated recently, this is very likely what's behind your drop. And the 9th reason is Google algorithm updates. Google regularly updates its local search algorithm. Some of these updates are minor quality refreshes that barely anyone notices. Others are significant enough to cause real volatility across the board. If your ranking drop coincided with a known Google update, the path back isn't a single quick fix. It requires a comprehensive look at your profile's authority, the quality of your content, and your overall digital footprint. Staying current on how Google's updates affect chiropractic practices is exactly why working with a specialized team makes such a big difference. I've linked to a resource on the SEO challenges chiropractors face in today's landscape in the show notes if you want to go deeper on that. Now, I want to take a moment and talk about something that goes beyond just recovering your Google Maps ranking, because the game has genuinely changed, and I think it's important you understand what's happening right now in 2026. AI-powered search is no longer coming, it's here. Platforms like ChatGPT, Perplexity, and Google's own AI overviews are changing how patients find chiropractors. When someone asks an AI assistant, "Who's the best chiropractor near me?" that AI isn't pulling up a ranked list of links. It's generating a direct answer. And if your practice isn't set up to be cited in those AI-generated responses, you're invisible to a growing segment of high-intent patients who are ready to book right now. This is where generative engine optimization, or GEO, becomes absolutely critical. GEO is about structuring your content, your data, and your entire online presence in a way that AI systems can easily read, understand, and confidently cite. And here's the connection to everything we've been talking about today. A strong, well-maintained Google business profile is foundational to your GEO success, because AI models pull heavily from Google's data ecosystem when they construct local answers. I've got show notes links to some great resources on how AI is rewriting local search, plus a podcast episode packed with practical AI visibility tips for chiropractors, so make sure you check those out. All right, so let's tie this all together with a practical action plan. If your ranking has dropped, here's how I'd approach the recovery. Start with a complete audit of your Google business profile. Log in and review every single field: your business name, your categories, your description, your services, your hours, your phone number, your website URL, and your address. Make sure everything is accurate, complete, and matches your website exactly. Next, verify your NAP consistency across the web. Use a citation tool to audit your listings across the major directories and fix any inconsistencies, starting with the highest authority sites first. Then get your review strategy moving again. Create a simple, repeatable process for inviting satisfied patients to leave a Google review. Even generating 5 to 10 new reviews over the next 30 days can meaningfully shift your rankings. And respond to every review you receive, positive ones and negative ones, promptly and professionally. Commit to a weekly posting schedule on your Google business profile. Every post should be locally relevant, include a clear call to action, and mix educational content with service promotions and community updates. Add new photos regularly: interior shots, exterior shots, team photos, treatment room photos. Businesses with recent high-quality photos consistently outperform those without them. Strengthen your website's local SEO signals. Make sure your site has locally optimized pages, fast load times, proper schema markup, and clear location signals throughout. I've linked to a great guide on schema markup for chiropractors in the show notes. It's a solid resource for making your site both AI readable and locally authoritative. And study the competition. Look at the profiles of the chiropractors currently outranking you. How many reviews do they have, and how recently did they get them? How complete and active is their profile? Use that intelligence to close the gaps in your own strategy. If you've worked through all of that and you're still not seeing your rankings recover, it may be time to bring in a specialist. Ranking higher on Google Maps is genuinely a science, and an experienced chiropractic SEO team can identify issues that are nearly impossible to spot without the right tools. One final thought before I wrap up. Recovering your Google Maps ranking matters, but the smartest chiropractors I work with are thinking beyond the traditional 3-pack. Search everywhere optimization, The strategy of making your practice visible, not just on Google Maps, but across AI platforms, voice search, directories, social platforms, and more, is what protects your practice from algorithm volatility over the long haul. And as AI overviews continue to push the traditional map pack further down the page, getting your chiropractic practice listed in Google's AI overviews becomes just as important as ranking in the maps results themselves. I've linked to a full breakdown of what local search looks like for chiropractors in 2026 in the show notes. Definitely worth a read. And for even more tactical guidance on your Google business profile, I've also linked to a couple of past podcast episodes that go deep on that topic. If you're ready to stop guessing and start getting results, the team at DCRank specializes exclusively in helping chiropractors dominate local search. From Google business profile optimization to full AI SEO strategy. Visit DCRank.com and let's put together a recovery plan and a long-term growth strategy that gets you back on top where you belong. All right, that wraps things up for today's episode. Thanks for tuning in to the Chiropractic Marketing Podcast. Before you go, remember to subscribe to my podcast on your favorite platform. Whether it's Apple Podcasts, Audible, YouTube Podcasts, Spotify, or others, I've got you covered. If you need to see a full list of supported platforms, simply visit chiropracticmarketingpodcast.com. Last but certainly not least, I'd love to hear your thoughts on Apple Podcasts. Your reviews not only help build awareness of what I'm talking about, but also give me a good indication of how I'm doing. Be nice, be fair, but definitely be honest. I would greatly appreciate it, and so will future listeners. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you next time.